Hey everybody out there, it's Gina. This is my first video in a series of videos on my love of video games, and I figured that I would start out by showing everybody out there the games that I own. So I'm gonna go system by system. So here is my collection. I'm gonna start with my portable systems first. The first one being the Game Boy Advance. Now, something to warn you guys about my collection is I'm not a collector. I wish I was. I don't have the space. I don't have the time nor the money to be a collector, unfortunately, but the games that I do have, I love. So, I owned a Game Boy Advance SP. I would show it to you and talk a little bit about it, but I don't have it anymore. I use my, my DS to play Game Boy Advance games now. So I figured I would just jump right into my collection, and I'm gonna probably do this collection in alphabetical order because I work in a law office and that comes naturally to me. So anyway, here we go. First game that I own alphabetically for my Game Boy Advance is Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. Now, as I'm doing these videos, the one thing that you're going to learn about me is that there's nothing that I love in this world more than Castlevania. So, Harmony of Dissonance is actually one of my favorite Castlevania games. It reminds me more of my favorite Castlevania game, which is Symphony of the Night, than any of the other ones. So, here's the box. I have it in pretty pristine condition. Here's the back. Got pretty cool pictures of Juiced and Maxim, and I think Lydia is her name. It's been a while since I've played. Here's the cartridge, which kind of has similar art to the box. And let's see if I can pull some stuff out of the box. Yes. And here is the guide. You know, what's interesting about the Game Boy Advance guides is that they're these kind of tiny little guides. You know, it's a nice color and teaches you how to play the game. I really love Harmony of Dissonance. You know, like I said, it's good. It's like 2D scrolling at its absolute finest. It reminds me a lot of Symphony of the Night, and I absolutely love the fact that I can just, you know, have this amazingly portable Castlevania game that reminds me of Symphony of the Night. The story is pretty good, and it replicates that whole dual castle thing that Symphony of the Night had, but it does it in a really interesting way where when you do one thing in one castle, it affects stuff in the other, so it's a really cool game. So next on my list is one that I don't have the box for, but I don't know where the box went, actually, to be totally honest, but Final Fantasy 1 and 2 Dawn of Souls. I got this basically to round out my Final Fantasy collection because I never owned Final Fantasy 1 and 2, and I figured what better way to own it than for it to be portable, and I think it's a pretty good port of it. I really enjoyed it. I haven't really jumped into Final Fantasy 2 yet, but I did jump into Final Fantasy 1, and it's definitely very different than the other Final Fantasies. My first Final Fantasy ever was Final Fantasy 7, so the old school ones are kind of very new and sort of different for me. Okay, next in my Game Boy Advance collection is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. I'm a huge RPG fan. Golden Sun. This, if you've ever watched any of my videos with Out of Time Productions where we've done our E3 roundups for the past 2 years, all I've been saying at our E3 roundups is Golden Sun, Golden Sun, Golden Sun. It's such an amazing game, and I have a hard time finding people who actually even know what this game is, let alone like it, which is really kind of weird because it is so amazing. So this is the cover. It's pretty exciting. It has all 4 of the main characters. The back here has a little bit of gameplay, a little bit of explanation about what the game is all about. Here's the manual in nice pristine condition. Nice color book. showing you how to do all different kinds of things in the game. And here is the very simple cart. The art on the cartridges for Golden Sun really isn't that fantastic, but Golden Sun is an RPG basically where you're trying to stop the revival of alchemy and save the world by stopping the lighting of these lighthouses. And the game itself was actually so huge that they had to break the game in half to fit it on the Game Boy Advance, which resulted in my next game, Golden Sun: The Lost Age. And I do not have a box for this because I actually acquired this from a friend that I went to college with. I was a member of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Club at college, and one day one of the members there came in and said, "Hey, I have some Game Boy Advance games. I don't want them anymore. I just want to give them away. Who wants them?" And I was like, "Well, what do you have?" And he showed us what he had, and I saw that he had Golden Sun Dr. Odd, and I was like, "I'll take that." And I automatically grabbed it as fast as I could because I knew I needed to have the second part. And together they are an amazing game. Next is one of my favorite genres, which is fighting. I'm a button masher when it comes to fighting games. I'm horrible at them, but they're fun. And this game is Guilty Gear X Advanced Edition. I'm a big Guilty Gear fan. I enjoy the games a lot. So here's the cover. Here's the back with a couple of characters featured on it. Again, I don't know, you know, a lot of my games aren't in great condition, but my Game Boy Advance games for some reason are in pretty awesome condition. Here's the guide. It's very red and orangey. You know, it shows you how to do all different kinds of moves and whatnot. And the cart is kind of just the same, you know, color and design as the box. It's a really awesome fighting game. I've always really loved the Guilty Gear games. I think that they really kind of stand out as far as fighting games are concerned, simply because, you know, it's hard to explain. I think that they just, the art and the characters and the way that their stories are kind of intertwined, I find it to be very unique. And I really love it as a fighting game. So next on my list is a classic. This is Super Mario Advanced 4 Super Mario Bros. 3. Super Mario Bros. 3 is one of my favorite games of all time, as is the case for a lot of people, and to have a portable version of it I think is awesome, and I think it's a pretty good port. I enjoy it whenever I play it. It's much more frustrating to me as an adult than it is as a kid, but I find that to be kind of a trend. The things that came so easily to you as a kid in video games is kind of more difficult when you're an adult. Not sure why that is. Now my last game that I have for my Game Boy Advance is one of my favorite games. It's incredibly wacky, but if you've ever played it, and hopefully you have, you know how good it is. WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games. You know, I've never really been a fan of Wario, but I am now. I became one when I got this game. My friends told me that I had to get it. The cart is very simple. There's no characters or anything on it, it's just colors. Very simple cart. And here's the booklet. Again, in pretty nice condition. It's actually really stiff because I don't think I've ever really opened it. It's very nice and colorful, just like the rest of the game. They have all different, you know, stories on the characters and everything. Basically what the WarioWare games are is they're a bunch of themed, like, 3 to 5 second mini games, and you have to complete them super quick. And it's incredibly fast paced, incredibly wacky, and incredibly fun. So if you've never played the WarioWare games, you're definitely missing out. You should definitely pick them up and check them out. So that's pretty much my Game Boy Advance collection. But I have one last game here that I want to show you that is completely random. Until I dug out my Game Boy Advance games, I forgot that I even had this game. And it took me a while to even remember that I had actually played it once, because I really didn't remember that I had it. Before I had my DS and my Game Boy Advance SP, I had a Game Boy Color Pocket. And the only game I remember having for it is Pokemon Blue. But I found this with my DS games, Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Duel Stories. I don't know why I have this, but it's the only Game Boy Color game that I own. I don't have my Game Boy Color Pocket or my Pokemon Blue anymore because my mother used to be a personal aide for a child with cerebral palsy, and he really wanted a video game system, and so I gave my mother my Game Boy Color Pocket and my Pokemon Blue to give to him. I figured, you know, I don't really use it anymore. He could probably get more use out of it than him, but look at this. It's still in the wrapping. It's see-through. And it's just really weird. I don't know why I have it. I don't know if it's really like rare or anything like that. I don't even know, but I have this for some reason, and I figured since, you know, the boxes are all shaped the same as the Game Boy Advance boxes, that I might as well just throw it into this collection video, because I don't think I'll ever have an opportunity to talk about it. So there you go. That's my my Game Boy Advance collection. I do have 2 other portable game systems that I do want to do collections for. So my next video is going to be my Nintendo DS collection, and I have quite a bit more games for that I do for my Game Boy Advance, so that video will be a lot longer and should be a lot, I guess, more interesting than this one. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment and subscribe if you want. There are more video games coming, not just about my collection, but about different issues in video games and the industry. You know, reviews of different games, unboxings of some of the very rare, old, and special edition games that I actually do have, because, like I said, I don't have a lot of money, so it's rare that I get my hands on nice collections of games, and I definitely want to do some unboxings for those. Everything literally from like current gen games to like old DOS computer games. I have a little bit of everything, so if you like that kind of stuff, stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, see you guys around.